Okay guys, today is day 345 trying to make $1 million. I'm still fighting. I'm still in the hospital bro right now. I'm still in the hospital bro right now. But everything is going okay. So I hope for the next stream everything is getting better and better. So for now, I will put the counter because right now we are 102 subscribers, 102 subscribers. Yo, so let's go, 102 subscribers. Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate it a lot. For now, I will share the screen with you guys. One moment. Perfect. The counter is here or here, probably in the left corner or right corner, I'm not sure. But for today I prepared this video when we're going to learn from this guy. Max Fox reveals his 7 income streams business plan. Let's learn and let's see what happens.
I'm a YouTuber and comedian, and this is my business plan. So, first things first, me. That is a picture of me with red tape over my forehead. I could have chosen a better picture, but I thought that was the best that instilled me. There are 6 different ways in which I make money. Some of them I make more money from, some of them I make less. But I'm gonna take you through each one, starting with the biggest income stream, which is brand deals. Now, brand deals are very, very important to my business plan and my existence on YouTube. Brand deals are specifically the 60-second integrations within a video in which I will talk about a brand and the various different products that they offer. This has been something that I've been doing probably for the last 5 or 6 years, and it has become the largest part of my business model. Brand deals are very, very important to me. I try and make sure that there is a brand deal on every single video. The reason for that is because the brand deals ostensibly pay for the creative idea. Some of my videos are very expensive, some of them are less expensive, but it means having a brand deal on every one allows for me to pay for the creative idea. The channel has got 4.75 million subscribers, and I've been using brand deals probably since I was on about, 50 or 60,000 subscribers. The brand deals side of things equates to about 35% of the total revenue on the channel. I might have slightly put that in the wrong position, so let's just move that here. The first ever brand deal I ever got was with Bumble, the dating app. They basically paid for me to go and do a tour.
I need to find brand deals, but for now I need to create a community and engage more people with my content, so when I become a successful entrepreneur in the YouTube area, in the content creation area, have more subscribers, I can use the strategy of brand deals. But for now, I can't do that right now because I only have 102 subscribers. So if you're not subscribed, please subscribe. Help me to do. Help me to make $1 million, bro. And subscribe to help me go to the moon.
And to interview. Paid for me to go and do a tour of various different cities and to interview students on nights out. I got paid £3,000 for that brand deal. I could not believe that amount of money that I was being paid to go and do what I was loving to do, what I was doing for free. It's now grown into the largest part of the business. The brand deals are very important because they allow me to pay for a lot of the creative ideas that I have on the channel. One of the biggest videos that I've done, I had a hot dog eating competition against a grizzly bear in which we both had 75 hot dogs in front of us and we wanted to see who could eat more hot dogs. That video, for example, cost me around $25,000. It's very expensive to have a bear learn to sit.
Okay, and one lesson that we learned from Mr. Beast was that he reinvests his money. So this guy do the same, reinvest his money, the money that he makes from YouTube, reinvest that money in his channel. So he can improve their videos and create better content. Also, that's what I'm planning to do. I'm planning to create the best content possible on YouTube, better than Mr. Beast content, bro.
The picnic table and eat hot dogs. So here we go, let me try and do my best bear It's more, I've just drawn Snoopy there. That's not a bear at all. I've kind of got to a position now where I feel like I have an opportunity to essentially make any video I want, which I find very, very important when it comes to YouTube, because I don't want to be confined with the videos I make just purely because they're not accessible in terms of fee. Now, I will also stress, I will add that the biggest videos that I made when I was starting out cost me zero money. On YouTube, you do not need to succeed by having large amounts of money in order to create big videos. One of the biggest videos I've ever made was when I technically became the richest man in the world for 7 minutes. That total video cost me £50 to make. I would say that, you know, money can help when it comes to creative ideas, but it's definitely not the be all and end all. And if you are a creator that wants to start out, you do not need lots and lots of money in order to start your YouTube channel. These brand deals are also kind of known as integrations. When you often hear about YouTubers talking about integrations, that's what they're talking about. The integrations that I have are normally 60 seconds. I have also done 2 videos which have kind of been one-off videos, and that's when the brand will ask for a dedicated YouTube video. I've only done 2 of those particular brand deals. One of them was for Amazon. I do them very rarely because I don't like giving brands a creative control over the video. One thing that I am very, very happy with is that I still get creative control. The brands do not pay to dictate the type of video, which is the most important thing for me. So that is a big, big plus of doing integrations and brand deals of this nature. Moving on to the next part of my business, which comes from YouTube AdSense, which kind of does go hand in hand with brand deals. YouTube AdSense equates to 15% of the business model. Often people get kind of confused with the difference between integrations and ads. They are 2 different things. One of them is sourced by me and the team, and the other one is sourced by YouTube. So these are adverts that play before.
Okay, but for that I need to get 1,000 subscribers at least, because I need 1,000 subscribers in order to get paid by YouTube. So guys, please help me. Right now I have 102 subscribers, so if I want to use this income source, I need to get 1,000 subscribers, bro.
And during videos when you're watching on YouTube, the ones you can either like skip the ad or they're 30 seconds, which you can't skip, that is something called AdSense that we get paid by Google. So Google go out and do those ad deals with the various different brands. So this is mainly driven by Google here. Google go out and they get these ads to be played before the video, and then we get a percentage of that ad revenue. What's very interesting is the amount you get paid with your AdSense depends on who and where your audience are. So if you have an audience that are in a country and they might have a high amount of purchasing power, somewhere like the US or Scandinavia, you get paid high amounts of CPM, as it's called. But if your audience is in a part of the world where they might not have as much purchasing power, then your CPM will be lower. That's because YouTube understands that the advert that's being served to somebody will have different effects depending on who they are. As a result, if your audience is based in a place like India, for example, your CPM will be lower. But that essentially boils down to how much money you get paid per 1,000 views. Now, because I'm in the kind of entertainment niche, my audience is very broad. If your audience is more directed or focused, your CPMs are often higher because the ads that can be played to them are more targeted. And so I have a relatively low CPM. The amount that I get paid equates to about $3 per 1,000 views. That is much, much lower than some other creators that I talk to. I think if you work in areas such as the golf or home improvement or family, those channels often get much higher CPMs because they know the people are watching them are more likely to spend money on equipment, on golf equipment, on baby equipment. YouTube is fantastic at paying their creators. I think over the last few years, they've paid over $100 billion.
To viewers, no problem. I keep going, I will keep fighting. Even if I have no viewers, bro. One day I will have 1 billion viewers. That's a promise to myself.
To YouTubers and creators on the platform, which is why creators themselves love working with YouTube. And you see a lot of short form creators on TikTok, on Instagram, all trying to funnel their audience into long form, because that's where ostensibly you can make the most amount of money. Often creators talk about videos not being monetized. My content is relatively family friendly, and so I make sure that every video is accessible to all and therefore can get monetized. But as a result, this equates to about 15% of my income when it comes to YouTube. Now, you can't just start on YouTube and immediately get paid AdSense. YouTube has various different requirements that you need to hit in order to become monetized.
One is to hit 1,000 subscribers, bro. So I need your help, bro. Please, guys, subscribe to help me go to the moon and to help me make $1,000,000.
Now, I've actually forgotten what those requirements are because I was monetized in 2019. This is when I first started making my first little bit of money from YouTube. Back then it was, you know, £1 or £2 for each video, so it wasn't very much. But 2019 was when I became monetized. Since then, I've had various different videos perform quite well, and so I've been paid well for some of those videos. I think the most amount I've ever been paid for a video was my Welcome to Luton video, in which I got paid $37,000 for that video. Now, if you think that video has got 17 million views, and it showcases that the CPM on that was relatively low, because 17 million views means that the CPM was around, you know, $2.5. If it was $10, I could have been paid $170,000. It showcases it wildly fluctuates between how much you can get paid per video. It's worth noting that that 37,000 isn't an exact number. It's around that amount that I got paid for that particular video. Currently, the YouTube channel has got 4.75 million subscribers. I've had a total of, I'm not really sure what it is, but 1.3 billion views on the channel. Those aren't all long form views, so you can't really extrapolate out 1.3 billion times by $3 CPM to work out the amount of money I've made. No, a lot of those views come from shorts. You do get paid for short form content on YouTube, but it's much, much smaller. You might get a CPM of maybe, you know, 11 cents, 12 cents. So shorts is different. Shorts, you can have a CPM of about 12 cents per 1,000 views. You get paid much, much less for shorts because there's less time for adverts to be played to the audience, and so that makes sense. Ultimately though, YouTube is fantastic, and that's kind of, they're definitely the industry leader on being able to pay creators for the videos that they make, which is why so many creators want to sit on YouTube, and why, in my opinion, YouTube is the best social media platform. We've done AdSense. Next up, it's second in the percentage stakes, but that's presenting. That is also 15%. Presenting equates to all presenting that I will do for brands externally of my YouTube channel. So that equates to 15% here. This is, as I like to call it, turn up and do it. This is presenting that I will do, or brand work that I will do, in which I'm not really involved in the creative at all, but I am merely a kind of a presenter for hire to turn up to deliver lines or to add comedy into the situation, and then it will often sit on the brand's channels. The pros of this is that my time is very much, I turn up and I leave, whereas with YouTube it can be like an ongoing situation of constantly having to edit and tweak and tinker. But with presenting, it's a day rate that I set, it's how much I get paid for that day rate, and whether the brand wants to pay for that day rate, then they can, but if not, then I don't do it. I do maybe across the year, I'll probably do 1.5 every month. So this normally accounts.
1.5, wow, $1,400 is a lot of money for me right now because I only have $1. But
to about 16 jobs every year, and that equates to 15% of the business plan. The great thing about this side of things as well is it allows me to have cool experiences. I'm a big fan of golf, so let me do a little golf ball there. I was recently hired to present at the Genesis Scottish Open. I went there and presented there for the day and got to play golf as well. So I was paid to do something that I really, really enjoy doing generally. The pros of that are, you know, it's a day rate. I can get in, I get out. I have no control over the edit, which is often quite nice because once you filmed it, you can kind of wash your hands of the situation. The negative side of things that is that, you know, I don't have the creative control over it. Sometimes there are things that I think could improve the content, but often the marketing manager or the creative side are very, very happy and they want to really hit some key performance indicators, or they want to hit certain things in their messaging. So I've got to then make sure I do that. It's a nice way of me being able to mix up the kind of content that I do and mix up the days that I have. I would love to do more presenting work, but there is one pitfall of it, which is that it often can get in the way of the YouTube side of things, and the YouTube videos. They often clash in terms of the timing and the dates. There are videos that I make where we're kind of at the behest of somebody else to make it happen, whether that be the weather or the availability of somebody else. And so often I give myself windows in order to shoot YouTube videos. The presenter side of things, because they need to lock in a date early doors, it means that I often kind of get squeezed out for time to do the actual videos. Now, it's very, very important that you don't do too many of these presenting jobs, because one thing that I'm a big advocate of is that often with creators, that as you get bigger viewership, you get more opportunities and you start to take those up other opportunities rather than spending the time of making the YouTube videos, which is why people are there in the first place. I will often say to creators that the only reason you're there is because people watch the videos and people enjoy the content. Make sure that you don't stop doing that. I thoroughly enjoy the presenting. It's taken me all around the world. I've had some really cool experiences, but I think they're probably going to keep at the amount of time that I provide to the presenting side, which is about 15 to 20 days a year. So, moving up to the fourth part of the business plan, which is, again, spoiler, another 15%, and that is stand-up comedy. Stand-up comedy is a huge part of my personality and my life, and it's also a pretty big part of the business plan as well, because it equates to 15%. The reason I started doing stand-up comedy was because when I started the YouTube channel back in 2017, often people would ask me, are you going to do merch? Back at that time, there was a lot of people doing, t-shirts and apparel, and I didn't hugely just want to do another, t-shirt with my name on it. I kind of rallied against the idea of doing any form of apparel, mainly because I thought that the audience weren't going to hugely resonate with that. So as a result, I decided to do comedy. And let me draw a little microphone here there we go, there's the microphone. The reason I did stand-up comedy, or started doing stand-up comedy, was because I thought it would be a slight change, a slight difference from doing normal merch. I started writing my first ever stand-up comedy show in 2019, and I went on tour with my first show, Social Butterfly, in 2021. I did a tour around the UK. I did maybe 15, 20 shows with Social Butterfly.
Very interesting that, but probably for me is not a good strategy because I'm not good at comedy, but I can also try to make shows like acting. So I want to become an actor. I want to become an actor. Probably I can try it that way, or I can do magic shows. How I can apply this information to myself, to my project with these ideas, probably.
And I finished it up at the London Palladium, which was a venue that I kind of gone to for years and was in the West End and is a real kind of bucket list venue for me. So I finished that tour with Social Butterfly in 2021. But since 2021, the channel has grown kind of exponentially. From about 2021 to last year, the channel grew from about 1 million subscribers to 3.5, 4 million subscribers. So with that growth, I wanted to do a new tour and a new show. So that's where Loophole came in, the Max Fosh Loophole World-ish tour. World-ish because it basically was just NATO countries. Now, the World-ish tour was a big part of my year last year. I wrote a show with a great friend of mine, Ed, about a loophole that I discovered that I wanted to show the world and tell the world about. I went on tour with that, but this time I went across the globe. I did approximately, I did about 75 shows in, I think, about 15 different countries. And I sold about 50,000 tickets to this tour. It took me 5 or 6 months to complete. It was incredibly grueling but rewarding.
So probably yes, I can act in a show, or I can do a magic show or something like that to gain some money in order to get that $1 million, bro.
At the same time, I was kind of going back to back with flights every single day. We're doing a new show, sometimes 2 shows a day, a matinee and an evening performance if we'd sold well. It was a real great experience for me to stand on stage and in front of the audience that watches the videos online in person. You get a real immediacy with the reaction that you wouldn't normally get on YouTube. Often the reaction you get on YouTube is in the comments or in the likes, and it's very hard to quantify that those are actual people. And so doing a show and doing a tour meant that I was able to meet loads of people around the world, and it was just incredibly, it was a cathartic experience. It was an enjoyable experience to be able to meet and perform to people in person. There were some great shows. I managed to do the Hammersmith Apollo and sell out the Hammersmith Apollo, which was, a dream come true. I used to grow up watching live at the Apollo on telly, and so to do a show at the Hammersmith Apollo was kind of very much a dream come true. That's 3,500 people. That was the highs. There was also some lows. For example, I did a show in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, in which I sold 107 tickets. The venue was a capacity of 1,200 seats. It was a tough day. So, you know, there were some real highs and lows when it comes to the stand-up, but as a result, that equates to 15% of the business plan. I don't think I'm gonna be doing a show again anytime soon, purely because it's incredibly time intense. It's a lot of traveling and is something that really, really takes it out of you. So the time.
You need to take that in mind. It takes a lot of money, and the most valuable resource that you have is it requires a lot of time, and the most valuable resource you have is your time, bro.
Time intensity and just the intensity of touring just generally was something that I probably don't want to repeat, especially because it takes away time from being able to make YouTube videos. In 2024, I published fewer videos, as you might have noticed, because I was on tour for most of that time. And I want to make sure I get back to the reason why people are buying tickets is because they watch the YouTube videos. Either way, stand-up is a huge part of my identity. I love stand-up. I watch a lot of stand-up, and I'm always thinking of new ideas for new shows. And so I'd like, you know, Loophole was a great experience, and like something I could tick off the bucket list. A nice little bucket that I've kind of ticked off. Here we go. There's my 3D bucket. Very good. Tick it off the bucket list. There was one interesting thing about touring, which is the economics of touring and the economics of stand-up that I didn't really realize when before I did it. From the outset, I sold approximately 50,000 tickets at an average of, you know, £30 a ticket, and you can very quickly do the maths. That was not the amount that I took home, far from it. There is a huge variety. There's kind of a touring circus of individuals that need to be paid. The venues get a percentage, and so kind of before you've even gone on stage, these are rough back of the napkin numbers, so don't hold me to it. But for example, you need to take 20% out from VAT immediately from your revenue. The venues then take a percentage just to perform at the venues. That can vary wildly, but you know, it averages around 35-40% in some places. Then you've got the various different visa fees that you've got. You've got to pay all of your touring staff. You've got taxes in everyone. Often before you've even stood on stage, you couldn't, like 60, 65, 70% of that money has already gone. That's already been paid elsewhere. I managed to make some money from Loophole, but you know, it's not quite the large revenue number that you might see at the bottom of the spreadsheet. We're now getting to the back end of the business plan and kind of the final little bits and bobs, and the penultimate income stream is investments. Now, investments equate for 12.5% of the amount of money that I make in the business. With my investing,
but the question is, invest in what? And what you should invest your money, guys?
I don't remove any money out of those investments. I've invested in various things, and I'm going to hold them there. Now, the investments aren't particularly exciting. There are a variety of different index funds, you know, that track the S&P 500 as well as the FTSE. So we've got index funds. I also invest in things like gold as well, which is, you know, been, I think, a pretty safe bet over the last few years. But as a result, as I said, I don't take any dividends. I don't take any money out of the investments because I want to make sure that I'm holding this for a long-term solution. I don't have huge ideas about what I want to do with the money that I have invested, but I want to make sure that it's there. Often with the YouTube channel, if I wanted to...
Okay, probably invest in gold is something I can do right now, and could be a very good solution, but first I need to make some money.
Really invest back into the channel and put a lot of capital back in, then I can. But the investment also is kind of a little bit of a rainy day fund as well. I think it's important to have this both in your personal life and also in your business. So I have a rainy day fund with the investments to make sure that if something was to happen, I couldn't work for a few months. I would make sure that the people that work within the company still had secure jobs. Because I want to make sure that job security is as strong as it can be. I have to say, I don't do the investing. I don't know very much at all. I didn't know what an index fund was. I thought it was just for your fingers. That is done for me by a company that do a very good job, and we have a meeting once a year, a very important meeting where we sit down and we talk about things that I have no idea and don't understand them at all. I kind of leave that to other people to do, but it's an important part of the business, and you know, a nice little safety net if I ever need it. I'll do a little bit of a safety net here. Here's my little safety net with all the money in there. Very artistic. realistic. Now, as I said, for this investment, there are people who do it for me, whose job is it full time to optimize the most that they can get in returns. And I have that in various other parts of the business as well. I have, accountants, and accountancy is very, very important for my business to make sure that I'm paying the right amount of tax. So therefore I can divvy it away within the investments. So I make sure that I've got that pot of money to pay for my tax at the end of the year. Now, for me, I have some accountants that I like working with. For you, it completely depends what's best for you. Obviously, QuickBooks can be something that's very, very good for you if you're just starting out. But with my accountancy, there's various different things that you need to think about, such as withholding tax in various different territories when I'm on tour. And so I kind of find it best if I have an individual accountant for that. So if you are just starting out, you want something much more simple, QuickBooks is very, very good. Although they do have an absolute cornucopia of different services that you can use because they are very, very good. Now, the final way that I make money in the business is quite unique, but it is brand consultancy. Now, this equates for 7.5% of the revenue in the company. Now, brand consultancy is something that is quite rare for me that I do. I don't do it very often. I might do it like 2 or 3 times a year, but I'm on retainer with a few brands in order to, constantly give some feedback on things that, I think that they can perform better in, or things that I think they're doing wrong. I'm relatively unique positioned in the fact that
Probably something similar to my marketing service, but I'm not sure, probably.
I understand social media, I think, quite well, and so brands want to tap into that and understand as best as they can. That is a lot of kind of meetings. It's sat rounds with, people in suits. There's a lot of very important people in suits who kind of like sit in these meetings, and they like to ask me questions. So here we go. Here's my best suit drawing. Look at that suit, look at those trousers, and then a tie, nice at the top there. So I sit and talk to these men and women in suits and tell them that they should be doing this and they should be doing this. It pays quite well, which is very, very nice. I only try and do this, as I said, like 3 or 5 days a year. Again, I don't want it to take up too much time from making the YouTube videos. I think that's a very, very important part because it means that I can also build relationships outside of YouTube. I don't know what this job is going to be like in 10 years. I don't know whether I'm going to have the energy to keep making videos, and so it's good for me that I'm building my my little black book outside of YouTube, so that if I do want to make the jump into the big bag corporate world, I can just get people on the blower very quickly. The brand consultancy takes about 7.5%. I can't name any of the brands I work with because I am under a strict NDA.
One important thing is that also requires time. You need to have that in your mind, bro. Requires a lot of time.
And otherwise I will get in a lot of trouble. But I have done brand consultancy for German car manufacturers. There you go, you can take your pick. One benefit of doing a lot of the brand consultancy is I get to go into businesses and understand how they work, understand the structures. That can be really, really positive for me because it showcases I've never really run a business before. And so going into environments where there is, a lot of structure, it allows me to understand and maybe copy some of the certain things that they do in order to make my business as efficient as possible. It also opens my eyes as to how other people are tackling the content creation world. And there's been some really interesting things that I've taken away from these meetings. So I'm also learning a lot. So it's not only the money that they give me, but also the information along the way. Now, this is the business plan I have at the moment, but obviously there are lots of different ways and areas that I might want to expand into. There's one kind of area that I definitely think I should be doing, which is, Patreon, exclusive content. People want access to more information or some more content from me. And so I would always love to make some more paid content that can sit on Patreon. I know a lot of creators who do it and they do it very, very well. And it allows you to further the connection with your audience and the creator. For example, I could start doing live streams of my ideation sessions. Now that probably would be a little bit dangerous because I don't want everyone getting access to the ideas, but that could be one way that I could open up a paid avenue into the business. Another way would be products. I'm seeing a lot of creators make their own products and making their own fast-moving consumable goods. If you look at like shades from Nicole Milano.
To start a shoe brand, that's an idea that I was thinking about for a while. I'm planning to launch that shoe brand in probably 5 to 6 months. I'm not sure, but I'm planning to launch a shoe brand.
You look at Prime from KSI, Rods from Will N.E. and James Marriott. These are ways in which they can get their kind of intellectual property in themselves to their audience on a daily basis. People could be buying sweets every day, they could be buying energy every day, they could be buying coffee every single day. There is a way that I've been thinking for a while, like what do I love? I love mayo. If I was to ever make, my own fast-moving consumer goods, I think that would be mayonnaise, Max's mayo. I have mayo with everything. For example, I once had mayonnaise with a chicken chow mein. I think I'm best placed to have my own line of mayonnaise. So you might be seeing Max's mayo coming soon. The final area that I think I could probably expand into, which is, everyone's doing it, is podcasts. Podcasts are brilliant. Now, one thing I love about podcasts is because it strengthens the bond between the creator and their audience. For example, at the moment, I make a video once every 2 to 3 weeks and it's 10 minutes long. So you're not spending that much time with your audience over a 3-week period. But if you're making content on podcasts,
that's the reason why I go live every single day, even if I have no viewers, because I want to connect with you guys. Also, if you're watching this stream in the future, that's the reason why I go live every single day. I want to connect with you guys.
that can be an hour long and you could be making those once a week. And so the bonds that you form with your community is much, much stronger. In the office tour video, I showcase that I have a brown envelope of all of the old ideas that I have had that never really made the cut. And so there could be an opportunity to have a podcast in which I go and do those old ideas. The reason I haven't pulled the trigger on doing a podcast just yet is because if you want to make a great podcast, it requires a lot of your time. You need to really be dedicated to make the best podcast you can. It's not about just turning up and just recording for an hour and then being done with it for the week. You need to spend, I want to make sure that I'm making something that I think is really, really good. And I worry that it would take away from my time from other areas. So I think I might do a podcast at some point, but I want to make sure I've got the time frame and I want to give it 100%. Well, I've been Max Fosh. That was my business plan. You've been watching. Thank you very much. See you in a bit.
Thank you so much, Max, and thank you so much to you guys. I'm not gonna lie, I'm really tired right now. I'm really, really tired because I'm in the hospital. I really feel like my entire body is burning from inside, bro, from the inside. But so that's the reason why today is a very short stream. We are right now at 102 subscribers, bro. Channel is 102 subscribers. Thank you so much for your support. Even when it's hard, I will try to create content and give the best content possible. So that's all for today. A very short stream, but I make that stream with all my heart, with all my love for you guys. Thank you so much for being here with me, and see you tomorrow probably. And remember, one life, one shot.